here is a recommendation video. So I just wanted to recommend some TV shows. I know a lot of people are always looking for something new or different to watch. These may be some you've heard before, maybe there are some that you haven't heard before, which I hope so. Here are some options for you to check out if you're stuck and don't know what to watch next. Gonna go through some different genres. Definitely not every single genre out there, but to me some of the more prevalent or bigger genres. And I'm gonna try to give 2 to 3 shows in each one to give you some options on something you might want to check out. Okay, first category is drama. So for my dramas that I'm going to recommend, the first one will be Unreal. Some of you may have heard of this, some of you may not. I really did enjoy this show. So this show, Unreal, is kind of a show about reality TV. It's not like a documentary or anything. It is like a scripted TV series, but it kind of takes a look behind the scenes of what they do to make a reality TV show. So the show that they're kind of doing something similar to like what The Bachelor or The Bachelorette would be, or some type of dating show like that. And we focus on the producers and the people behind the scenes and what they do to make this show work, and kind of like what they're doing to the contestants, kind of like the information they're giving them. It's a lot of manipulation to make a good show and good drama, because these are real people, and so they gotta add in some elements to make the show interesting for other viewers to watch. So I would definitely check out Unreal. Revenge is gonna be my second one. I really liked Revenge. This show is about a girl whose father is wrongly accused, and he's kind of taking the blame for a big PR, I believe a plane crash. But this girl, when she's really young, her father is blamed for an incident that had happened. Eventually he goes to jail and dies and is murdered in prison. And so the people that did this to him, she's out to get revenge on them because they kind of forced the blame on him and it wasn't his fault. They used him more as the scapegoat. So when she is older, she goes after this family and she changes her name so that they don't know who she is. So this takes place in the Hamptons, and the family she's kind of getting revenge on, she ends up getting the house that is right next door to them, which happened to be the house that her father and her lived at when she was younger, but the family doesn't recognize her and doesn't know that this is his daughter, so they don't really think anything of it when she buys the house. But yeah, this is a really good show, and it went on for 4 seasons. But yeah, basically it's about this daughter just trying to get revenge for her father and clear his name, and kind of make this other family pay for it. And she infiltrates their family. They had no idea, and she just brings them down one by one. It's absolutely great. And then my last show that I'm going to talk about for drama is This Is Us. I love This Is Us. They're going through their final season. That's going to be coming up next. So I'm really excited for that. But so far, the first couple seasons are on Hulu if you want to give it a watch. And it's great. If you don't know about it already, it takes a look at these triplets and their lives, and does a lot of flashbacks to kind of like parallel their lives between theirs and kind of their parents. And then they also do something like look into their future as well, their kids. So I really like the show. Mostly focuses on this family, the Pearsons and the triplets, and you get to see all their lives and kind of just family life, what they're going through. And it does give flashbacks in the past and the future of their parents' lives, and then what's going to happen, and it kind of all leads up to this one big event. And I think we're going to see how that ends in the future season, but this is a great family drama TV show to watch, so I definitely recommend it. It's a tearjerker. I cry almost every single episode. I am an emotional person as well, so just to warn you, but it's a great TV show, a great family show, and it's a great concept as well. Okay, my next one is romance. Romance is my absolute favorite genre, so it was really hard for me to narrow it down, but I'm going to talk about these 3 shows. Right now they're my top 3 at the moment. I think they're all pretty recent from what I have seen, so that's why they're pretty fresh in my mind. But my first one, if you don't know already, is Crash Landing on You. Love this show so much. So Crash Landing on You, this is actually a K-drama. This one, the main characters, the woman, she is from South Korea, and the male character is from North Korea. So this woman accidentally she's testing out some of her products. She's a very wealthy woman, owns her own business, and she decides to test out one of her sports products, and she goes parasailing, I believe. And she ends up in the weather's really bad and ends up in an accident, and she ends up in North Korea. So this whole story about these 2 characters, she's found by the soldier who's the main character, the main character. She's found by the soldier, and so he's trying to help her get back to her country, South Korea, without either of them getting caught. So he can't be caught with her and helping her and protecting her, and she just basically can't be caught in the country. So they're both trying to figure out a way to get her back to South Korea, And along the way, the feelings happen. But yeah, it's a really great story. It's really, really cute as well. So if you like romance, I definitely check out this K-drama. Okay, my other one, if you don't already know already, is Bridgerton. I have so many Bridgerton videos already up on this channel, so you can go check out any one of those. But yeah, I really enjoy Bridgerton and love the romance. I read all the books. It's just great. But the first season of Bridgerton focuses on the Duke, and it also focuses on Daphne Bridgerton and how they enter into a fake relationship so that she can get more suitors. So they enter a fake relationship, so she wants the men to get jealous and to want her more, and he is in the fake relationship so that the mothers will keep their daughters away from him and think that he's taken. But of course, they enter in this fake relationship. They develop feelings, and it's super cute to see them like kind of figure out what it is between them. So yeah, that's one I really, really enjoyed. And then my last one is Black and White Love. It's actually a Turkish drama, and I will put the actual name here as well, but I don't really know how to pronounce it. But in English, it translates to Black and White Love. I absolutely loved this show. I found this on TikTok. I also have a review about this on how much I absolutely loved it. But basically, the main characters, Ferhat and Asli. Ferhat is like a mafia guy. Asli is a doctor because she's seen too much and knows too much. Instead of killing her, he offers her a deal. He said, "I won't kill you if you marry me." And he's like, "If you marry me, then you'll be family and you'll be protected." In that moment, she decides to marry him to protect herself. And now they're married, and definitely not love at first sight. They don't like each other in the beginning. Kind of enemies to lovers, bad guy, good girl relationship. But as they spend more time together, they kind of have feelings and develop a relationship. So I really, really like this story. It also has tons of drama, but I consider romance because of the main characters. So if you're interested in checking out another show, it's in a different language, but you can get it in English subtitles, and I think this one's really, really good. My next category is comedy. So initially when I think of comedy, I think of The Office and Parks and Rec. So I always recommend those. I always love those. So I wanted to think of 3 different shows that I don't usually recommend when it comes to comedies. So my first one is Schitt's Creek. I love that one. It recently ended. I was so super, super sad to see that it ended. But I do love the show. Love how it ended. It's super funny and cute. So the story is about a family. They were super, super rich, but then they end up losing everything, basically go bankrupt, and the only thing they have left is a town that they had bought a while ago called Schitt's Creek. So since that's the only thing that they technically own, they move into this town and they have to readjust their life of being this rich people in this like kind of middle of nowhere town where they don't really fit in. And so they try to readjust their life. You see funny moments, comedic moments, funny situations, and how they're interacting with the people and their new lifestyle. My next show would be Baby Daddy. I love Baby Daddy. I kind of think this show's underrated, but I think it's hilarious. It's a really good family sitcom show. It was originally on ABC Fam, but great show. The show is a baby is left on the doorstep with a note from one of the main guys, Ben, his ex-girlfriend, like leaving them the baby. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and leaves him a baby with a note. So then he's like, kind of has to decide, am I going to raise this child, or am I going to get this child up for adoption? Like, what am I going to do? So he decides to keep his daughter and raise the baby. And he doesn't do it by himself. He does have the help of his brother and of his roommate Tucker, and then his mother and his best friend Riley. So there's all these people helping him raise this child, and it's super funny of these 3 guys adjusting to a child because they have no idea how to raise a kid. And then you see kind of learning and adjusting to their new life with the baby in it. I really like this show. The dynamic between the characters, it's super, super good. I believe it's on Hulu. I love the show. It's so funny. My last show in this category is actually Psych. I love Psych, and I think their fan base is also awesome. But yes, Psych is super funny, and it's kind of a show that caught up to me, and I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it. But Psych is about Sean and his friend Gus. Those are the main 2 characters. Sean pretends to be psychic and works with the police force. So he's not actually psychic, he just pretends to be, but he's very perceptive. So he uses that to his advantage and pretends that he has psychic powers and helps with the police with cases. And then Gus, who is his best friend since they were little, is his assistant. Gus is not psychic, but he helps Sean out with his case. Gus knows that Sean isn't psychic, but he goes along with it and he helps him throughout all these cases that they go through. Sean and Gus are literally so funny, and you think Gus is super serious, but then there are moments that just catch you off guard. It's like, why is Gus crazy? But yeah, this is a really good show. So my next category is action. This is one category I don't watch a whole lot, but these are the 3 I have seen and I really, really enjoyed. So my first one is The Bodyguard. That is 1 season. I believe it's a Netflix show, but I love this show so much. And it's basically what the title is, The Bodyguard. This guy is sent to guard this political woman, and while he's assigned to this, like, someone in political status who needs protection, he has to deal with different threats that she is faced with. So he has to protect her from different threats or anything bad that might happen to her. So that's basically the show, but it's really, really good. There's definitely some shadiness going on within the political party. It's a great action show to watch, and I believe it's on Netflix. There's only 1 season, but great. My next show that I'm gonna put is K2. This one, I also really, really liked. This is a K-drama, actually. So in K2, he was framed for killing his girlfriend when he was on duty. And so he's kind of on the run now because he didn't kill his girlfriend. Someone else blamed it on him. He's kind of like a fugitive now. And to clear his name, he has to work with someone who's just as dangerous as the man who framed him. So he decides to work with this woman, and she said she will help him get justice for his girlfriend, so kill the man that actually framed him and the man who actually killed his girlfriend, as long as he works for her and protects her. Through the season, you do see the drama and the backstabbing and the backdoor deals that are made. You really cannot trust anyone, and he doesn't like working for these people, but he knows it's the only way to get what he really wants. And then my third show is Vagabond. Still waiting on the 2nd season for this show. I need a 2nd season because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. But Vagabond, this show is about this uncle and his nephew. So his nephew is on a team and they get on a plane to go compete, and the plane ends up crashing. The uncle and all the family members of the team and everyone who was on the plane are sent to, like, kind of like the plane company's like apologizing for the malfunction and the deaths of their families, and they're gonna go to the crash site so the families can mourn. But while they're like going to everything, because it was said that no one survived the plane crash, but while they're going through all this, the uncle sees a guy that was on the plane, and the reason he sees that is because his nephew was taking videos on his phone and they automatically were uploading to the cloud. And so in mourning his nephew's death, he was going through the last videos he took, the moments before the plane crashed, and he sees the man that was on the video, and he's the same man that he's seeing in the airport. There's something going on, there's something wrong. They said no one survived, so how did this guy survive? And no one knows about it. So he tries to figure out what actually happened to the plane that killed his nephew. So my next genre is more like a thriller or kind of like murder mystery. I kind of combine them, and here are the 3 shows. So my first one is You. I love this show. It's so creepy, but it's so good. So You focuses on a guy named Joe, and he's basically a stalker. So he finds women that he finds attractive, and he's like, I just want to know everything about them. He takes that to a whole nother level. Goes on their social media. Yeah, he basically stalks them to figure out what they like and to get to know more about them, and he becomes obsessed with them. And this guy's crazy, and he's volatile and dangerous, that he's just so obsessed with these women. So there are 2 seasons of this show, and it is getting a season 3 as well. So I'm interested to see what happens in that season. Great show to watch. Definitely, if you're into things like that, to give the show a watch. Great for the spooky season as well. My next recommendation is going to be The Sinner. I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons. 3rd season didn't love as much. You can definitely see that review as well in my previous videos, but I really liked the first 2 seasons, and I think this got renewed for a 4th as well. But The Sinner, every season is about a new case, but it's the same detective on each case. This detective is kind of called in on these cases that are kind of different. Each case is not just black and white. It's not just they did it and that's it. There's these crimes happen, and these are people you wouldn't expect to commit a crime, and you kind of want to see what caused them to do this and why did they actually commit the crime, and why is this not just so black and white. If you're into like murder mysteries or something like that, give this a watch. This is definitely different, but it's good. And my last one is How to Get Away with Murder. I really enjoyed this show. It's with Viola Davis. Love her. She is a lawyer and she's teaching a class in a law school, and it's called How to Get Away with Murder. And in her class, she chooses students to work for her on cases and kind of get real world experience, but they end up getting in some trouble and they need her help. And when I say trouble, murder, which is where it comes from, How to Get Away with Murder. So throughout all the shows, there's different murders happening, and you got to figure out who did it and how are they going to get out of this. So you're going to see a lot of secrets, a lot of covering ups, and they really do all they can. I enjoyed the show a lot. I definitely enjoyed the characters as well. So if you're interested in like a drama with some murder, check this one out. Okay, the next category I'm going to talk about is documentary. I feel like recently I've been watching a couple of documentaries in the past year and documentary shows. So here are some that I watched that I really enjoyed. So the first one is The Last Dance. This focuses on the Chicago Bulls. So this show featured Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and then I believe their coach Phil Jackson, and like the last time that they all played together. So this is documentary series is following that team and kind of that last time they all played together. I really enjoyed it. I do enjoy sports. I enjoy watching sports, and so I really enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about The Last Dance or about this team. Of course, I knew who Michael Jordan was, and I know he played on the Chicago Bulls, but I didn't really know anything about The Last Dance or his teammates or anything like that. So to me, this is really cool to kind of see behind the scenes, and they interviewed all the players and kind of see how they felt and what this last time playing together was like and what they all went through. So if you're into sports, even if you're not into sports, I think you would really enjoy it. To me, it was really interesting and cool to see everything that happened and learn more about the Chicago Bulls team. Okay, so the next one is McMillions. This was an unexpected watch for me. This was actually recommended by a friend. So McMillions is about McDonald's Monopoly game and kind of the fraud that was happening within that game. So there were people that were winning the $1 million for the Monopoly game, but they were all planned. They were not picked randomly. These people knew they were going to win the money, and they kind of cheated the system. It was really interesting because for that Monopoly game, from what you see from the outside, it's so secure that no one could cheat or anything, but somehow they did. This is definitely an interesting show. I really liked it. And my last one, if you haven't guessed for this category, is Tiger King. How could I not add this to the documentary category? So yeah, definitely when quarantine started, Tiger King was the show that I watched. And I'm not saying it's the best show ever, but let me tell you, when you think it can't get any weirder, it does. It was a show I think everyone should watch at least once, because you literally would not believe what is happening. You're like, this can't be real. And it's so crazy that it is. Because literally, you could not make this up for a scripted show. The content that they got for this Tiger King show, you could not make it up. It is crazy. But it was very entertaining. I literally, the whole time I was watching, I was like, what am I watching? But honestly, I just want everyone to be so entertained as I was by watching this show. So that's why I was like, yeah, watch it. I do want to let you know that it does talk about tigers, and you might see some moments of mistreatment towards animals. They don't really show not a whole lot. But it could be some things that you're not comfortable with seeing. So I just want to warn you right now, there are some moments where you see animals in some situations that you will not be happy with. If that's something that bothers you, definitely do not watch this show. It's not a huge thing in the show, but there are moments within the show that do have that, because they are talking about people who take care of wild animals, especially of tigers. Okay, my next category is teen shows. I guess I could have put this with drama or like romance, but I feel like sometimes teen shows are a category of their own because they do focus mostly on younger or for younger audiences. So my teen shows, first one is Outer Banks. I really like this show. I know some people couldn't get into it, didn't like it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I do think the first episodes are kind of a slow start. Yeah, so the last couple episodes of the season I think are really, really good. So John B., one of the main characters, his father is kind of presumed dead or lost at sea. He went on an adventure and never came back. So John B. and he asked his friends as well, team up together to find the treasure that his father was searching for. So yeah, they all try to search for this treasure, and they aren't the only ones looking for it. There are other people who are more dangerous who also want this money, and it's a lot of gold, a lot of money that they're looking for. And so they're trying to get to it before them, and they're trying to be more sneaky as well. But yeah, there's all these people looking for this gold, looking for this money, and they're trying to figure out what they can do and who they can trust so that they can get this gold and split between them. So to me, this is a really good teen show. It doesn't just focus on their lives. It has like another element of like adventure, searching for buried treasure, things like that. So I would definitely recommend this. My next one is Teen Wolf. I love this show so much, and I wish there was more. This show is so good. Teen Wolf, basically, the main character is Scott, and he is in high school, and he ends up getting bitten, and turns out he gets turned into a werewolf. So he's trying to navigate high school while also being a werewolf. He enlists the help of his best friend Styles, so they're trying to like go through this together. There are other supernatural creatures. There are other werewolves he has to look out for. But I really like Teen Wolf. I think it's great. I could rewatch it 1,000 times and not get tired of it. I just love it so much. And then the last show in this category is One Tree Hill. I love this show so much. I didn't watch it when it initially first came out, and I was like, how did I not hear about this show sooner? But to me, this is a great teen show. It just focuses these teens in high school and then going through life, and they kind of live in a small town, and it's really good. So One Tree Hill follow two boys. One is Lucas Scott and one is Nathan Scott. So it turns out that they're brothers. They have the same father but different mothers. So kind of the story behind them is that their father, Dan Scott, was with his high school girlfriend, which is Karen, Lucas's mother, got her pregnant and kind of like left her and went with Nathan's mother, kind of chose Nathan's family over Lucas's. There is some kind of like hostility between them because they have the same dad, and the dad kind of chose one family over the other. So Lucas decides like, hey, I'm going to try for the team. He ends up making a team, and now they're teammates. And so they're forced to be on a team together, and they do not like each other. So that's kind of the premise of the show, and that definitely got me interested, like two brothers that kind of hate each other because of what their father kind of did, and he chose one over the other and kind of ignored the other family, and they're all still living in this town together, and everyone, like the whole town knows their situation because they're the last name Scott. He knows who his father is, but they have all that drama. Now the brothers are forced to come into contact with each other more often than usual. My final category is going to be like fantasy / sci-fi. So the first one is The Witcher. I enjoyed the show a lot. It's definitely one I was anticipating and hoping to like a lot. A Witcher is someone who hunts monsters. He hunts monsters, but he is also like an outcast because people don't like Witchers because they aren't really human. They're more monsters that hunt monsters, and there are battles and kind of like wars that are building up and about to happen as we are focusing on him and how all these stories align and merge. My next show is Stranger Things. I love Stranger Things so much. So this show focuses on a bunch of kids, and they come in contact with a girl named 11. And with 11, they end up witnessing so many different things happening, and they get introduced to a world called the Upside Down. With 11, they also end up losing a friend named Will. So there's this new girl in town, 11, who has magical powers, and they're trying to figure out what happened to their friend Will. He kind of disappeared, and there's no one knows what happened to him or where he went. And the last show I will be talking about is Lock and Key. This family, their father ends up getting killed, and so they decide to move to the house where their father had grown up. They kind of want like a new start, a fresh start, and get away from where they were from. But what they didn't know is that this house that they're moving into, that their father grew up on, has special keys, and the keys all have a certain magical power that they can do. And so their job is to protect these keys so that it doesn't get in the hands of evil or people that are not supposed to have them or misuse them. So these three siblings are trying to have the keys and protect them, and they kind of figure out what each key can do. They try to protect themselves from the people who are trying to get keys away from them. So these are all the shows I recommend. It's just, honestly, it's really only a few. I tried to narrow it down to 3 max for each category I decided to go with and speak about. But if you want me to do kind of a recommendation focus on just one genre, definitely let me know. If you have any TV show recommendations that were not mentioned on this list, definitely leave them in the comments. I would love to see some other ones I haven't seen, and for anyone else who want some more recommendations. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and also it was really hard to narrow everything down. But yeah, I had a great time just figuring out what would be the best ones to recommend for this one. I recommend a whole lot more other shows on my website, so I'll link some of those posts below so you can check those out if you want some other options. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking this out and watching, and until next time, bye.